Blog Talk Radio.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is a special edition of the Fox Den at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as opposed to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We did have to reschedule this show from before because my guest is in Hawaii. Lucky her. in the cold and the snow zones that I'm in, and I don't know where you're from, but lucky her. Last week I had on Chris Lee, past life regression progression therapy, and his seminars and classes and how he can teach you how to do what he does. If you missed it, you can go to the Fox Den and see the archive. Today, this afternoon, I have to stop myself from saying this evening. This afternoon, Dawn Crystal, she's with us. She's an internationally recognized voice sound energy healer, a medical intuitive, a respected intuitive life coach, soul reader, medium pain release expert, and a best-selling author. The book she has out now, Pain Free, Made Crystal Clear, that's known as a leading transformational expert incorporating ancient wisdom for modern-day success. Dawn is passionate about helping people clear emotional and physical blockages so they can manifest from their higher selves and step into their full potential and lead their lives and businesses in the way that align effectively with their soul's purpose. Dawn helps her clients to release themselves quickly from pain, emotional and physical, and she's an active mentor for entrepreneurs, CEOs, and celebrities, helping everyone. Dawn is the go-to person to get out of pain fast and in minutes. Dawn participates regularly on global teleseminars, radio shows, and podcasts. Dawn was recently interviewed on The Today Show, Dr. Oz, Rachel Ray, The View, and now she's in the Fox Den. Dawn hosts her own radio show, Pain Free, Fast and Easy, on the news for the Soul Network. And Dawn's unique sound healing CD has been purchased by clients around the globe, and she is available on both phone and Skype as well as teleseminars. Dawn lives a peaceful life on Maui along with her adorable dog, Hoku, which I don't have a picture of Hoku, so you have to send me a picture of Hoku because I want to see what kind of adorable dog you do have. So welcome, and thank you again for coming at this special time with us today. And first and foremost, I just got to ask you, what is sound energy healing?
Well, good morning. Aloha to Gina. This is Dawn from Maui, Hawaii, Dawn Crystal. And yes, sound healing is very unique in the way I bring it to the world. And the way I bring it to the world is not through an instrument or anything like that. It's through my voice. And the beautiful part of my gift, I call it a gift because that's what it is. It's a gift that I've been sharing with the world for now about 25 years. And I'm globally respected for helping people, especially get out of pain. That's my voice. That is very much known for helping people release their pain in the physical body, if there's physical pain as well. And I also help people with other issues. We'll talk a little bit later, but also mainly pain. And I can basically get people out of pain in minutes, okay? So pain with my voice. People ask, how in the world can your voice get people out of pain? So I don't know if you want me to go there right now.
I definitely want you to go there. Want you to go there.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so how does my voice get people out of pain in minutes? Everyone asks, well, that's something I never heard before, and I've never heard that. And, yes, you probably have not heard it. And the reason why you have not heard it is because I think I'm the only one in the world with my gift. I consider myself a pioneer on the forefront of, I call myself holistic medicine, but it's actually holistic medicine, I would say, that works beyond the conventional way of healing, which I'm not saying I'm taking anything away from Western medicine because I'm not. I'm not claiming to do that. And it's an alternative to taking Western medicine. People usually see me if they've tried everything out there and nothing has worked and they're heavily medicated. And that's fine if you are. You have to follow your doctor. But my work is very unique and it's effective. And how does it make my sound healing effective to release pain and blockage in your body? Well, my sound is actually, I know how to use my sound. Again, I've been doing this over 25 years, everybody. And most of my work is done by phone or Skype. I don't even have to be in front of you. but my sounds are very unique, and I tune into the physical body, and obviously I get from the person who I'm working with, either it's a physical issue going on, such as an injury. Maybe you've had an injury in the past where you've had that hurt, and maybe you've had some broken bones or some inflammation or scar tissue. Some people have had surgeries. There's a lot of times there's a lot of inflammation and scar tissue which accumulates in the body, which is called also in the energetic part of our body, which we are all made up of energy, everybody. If you don't know that, we are energy underneath our mass of our body. And I've known this for years before most people even awakened to know that we were energy. And so basically what I do is I have a gift of seeing as well. I don't just make sound. I have a gift of seeing where the blockage is in the body. And, of course, I will listen to the person who I'm talking to. They'll say, my neck hurts. But I also have the ability to tune in on a deeper level of the person, which I call it your intuition part of you, which is where I can see the blockage itself in the body, but I also get I'm an intuitive, so I actually get information, I call it, from your unconscious mind or your higher self, whatever you want to call it. And I go in and start clearing off with my sounds, boosting energy frequency through those areas of your body that are blocked, causing pain, discomfort. Really, I do that in minutes, okay? Minutes. Most of my sessions are only 30 minutes when people work with me. But on my shows, when I am on a show that I'm doing live callers, I do my healings, usually mini healings. I call those mini healings of releasing blockage in the body, which causes pain. And the participants are calling for the mini healings, and it's usually done within 2 minutes. Now, that's miraculous. And how do I do it? My sound frequencies go in different tones through my voice, by the way. They go through different tones in my voice, and I know which ones to use because I've been doing this just so long. I'm just in tune to know what I'm doing. I just fine-tune my gifts to know how to work and what sounds that need to come through my voice to move energy. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm moving energy rapidly through the body. Boosting away or clearing.
Singing or tones or what is it?
They're just sounds. No, that's a good question, Gina. Yes. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to keep going. I could keep rambling on. But yes, the sounds that come through my voice are sounds. They're not a language. They're just like frequencies that come through my voice, and they make different. I make different frequencies through my voice. Just sounds. Nothing outrageous or anything. But my sounds could get a little loud sometimes if I see some really deep, heavy, dark, I call it energy in the body. So I do clear negative energies out of people too. So a lot of times people don't realize that sometimes our pain is caused from just picking up on negative energy from other people or wherever they come from. So I clear that off on people too, and my tones and my voice, or my sounds, I call it, will get a little bit louder. But nothing over the top. Like I said, it's just pretty humbling what I could do. And, again, I'm a pioneer. So when I say a pioneer, I am just still bringing this to the world, and more people are opening up to anything natural these days. Would you say, Gina?
Absolutely, you are a pioneer, because I have never heard of this. Never. I mean, I know medicine bowls, singing bowls, things like that. It makes sense to me because, certain people have that tone in the voice that's calming, that's relaxing, and other people have that voice that make you want to, that run your fingernails down the chalkboard kind of voice, and it makes you like, ugh. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I can understand the concept. But how is it that you came to know that you even had this ability?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's in my second book that's coming out soon, Gina, called Fear Free, Made Crystal Clear. But I can explain a little bit about how my sounds came to you. I don't know how much time I have to talk on this because I could go on for a while with this. But I could go into how my sounds came to me, which was not from a class or a course that I took. It came from my humble beginnings of me having a very hard life. I think we all have our own story of how we were how our upbringing was, but mine was with total chaos and abuse in my whole life. I grew up in a very a family that was actually heavy drug users and alcoholics, and I was one out of 6 kids from a mom that was on welfare supporting 6 kids with no father. So mine came from humble beginnings of just soul searching, Gina, because I grew up in very harsh conditions growing up, abuse, verbally every way. And what I could say is that I never really had friends growing up, so I think I've always been kind of a different person, maybe a different frequency, you might call it. But I grew up just watching my whole family kill themselves in front of me, and part of this journey was for me to soul search, to really find myself, my true self, who I am today, and those humble beginnings of me not having friends, of being abused. And I went through, many different careers in my life. I was not a healer my whole life. I was actually, at one part of my life, I was a police officer. And at one part of my life, I was a successful business owner. And I was married twice in my life, too. So I've had a normal role in this lifetime of just living the life that most people live, except I knew in some level of my being that there was, I didn't know how to love myself, let's put it this way. From early on in my life, I never had love. I never had an ounce of love one day in my life growing up as a child. So I was searching for love my whole life in the wrong places, pretty much outside myself. And obviously, if you don't know how to love yourself, it's kind of hard to know how to love somebody else or have somebody love you. So I went through 2 failed marriages. And again, before I just found my journey of really finding my gift, finding me, or I found my gift, whatever it is, it happened at the right moment. I was living on the East Coast where you were, Gina, believe it or not, in the freezing cold. And I owned a couple. Oh yeah, I was living in Pennsylvania, so I know what it's like to freeze. And I lived on the Great Lakes. And at that time, I had a couple. Oh yeah, I'm originally from the Midwest, so I'm from Chicago originally. So I've definitely been cold. I know what it's like to be cold. And I was living in the East Coast. Yeah, I was living in Pennsylvania. And I owned a couple of beauty businesses, successful, by the way, and my marriage was not there. And I was at a really low part of my life because that was my second marriage, and it just seemed like, and I was married to an alcoholic husband who had a motorcycle crash. And pretty much at that part was I had enough. I actually had to take care of him. So it was really... and then my whole life of just living an empty life, okay? You understand, I didn't have friends. It was just, my whole life has been just empty up until that point. So I just basically had an intuition or some kind of guidance system, I call it, within my heart that said, leave your life. Leave your life, leave everything you own.
It's to get you to where you're supposed to be. It seems like it's choppy. Mm-hmm. Things that you've done, it's like chop, 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 chop. You know what I mean? Blocks of this. And now you're finally in your groove, right? Now you're comfortable. And now you're doing.
I'm getting there. Well, there's a lot of challenge on the way to get to the groove, and that was probably something that most people can't do. I left my whole family. I left my identity. I left everybody I own and rent. I left my businesses. I gave everything away, including my brand new house, my Mercedes, my money. And I just left with 2 bags of clothes, my faith, and $700 to my name, and took a one-way ticket to the Hawaiian Islands over 25 years ago and lived out of a car when I got here because I realized how expensive it was to have a place here. I didn't even have enough money to get an apartment. So I lived out of a car for half a year. And that's where my soul searching started because I didn't have anybody to go to back then. And I was not a camper. I was a very lavish person who stayed at very nice hotels. So I was not, it was very traumatizing for me at that part of my life. And I went through a lot of chaos even at that time to get to where the beautiful gift that I have today, and I'm sharing it, did not come from a very easy path. I actually had a very hard path, and it was a choice I made, of course, and I would never want to repeat that ever again, but I do have the wisdom to know that I needed to go through that to be insert where I'm at today, having this miraculous gift that comes out of my heart. It's a gift from the divineness. You want to call it God or source or whatever you want to call it. It comes through me, and I know it is because it's very powerful. And I needed to, in some ways, Gina, how can I easily say this? I needed to step out of my ego, and that was really the part that I had to go through this homelessness, you might say, for a period of time in order for me to kind of get out of the mind and actually, I call it, have the ego really disintegrate. Because my ego was very strong my whole life. I was in law enforcement too. I was a police officer at one part of my life. So I
just can't.
Well, I was, and I was in a major city being a police officer, and that was before my first husband got hurt on the job and he lost his career, and then I left my job to take care of him. That was my first marriage. So I had a lot of trauma, drama, you might call it, or a lot of craziness. And I really feel part of me being a healer today, because I just work on so many different levels of my clients that come to me, not just for pain. I mean, I'm helping people with their own traumas these days and their own unconscious, I call it their emotional kind of pain as well. And I have that ability to do that also. We'll get into different levels of my healing in a little bit if you'd like. I could work beyond the physical pain. But I really feel that was training for me to know how to work with people in all aspects, in all realms of this life, because I work with everybody from any kind of issue you got going on. I'm really amazing. My gifts are beyond just the physical pain, even though I'm known as a pain release expert worldwide. That's what I've been named, a pain release expert. I work so beyond that, you know?
Yeah. So it's like this works for anxiety and whatnot too, right?
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. That's a good time of year to be talking about anxiety right now, Gina. Since we are around we're around the holiday season, right? Okay? People are all stressed out. This is a really good topic. I think we should touch upon anxiety right now. Because we are in the holiday season, right? And I know a lot of people, I don't know about you, but I'm an empath, and I'm an empathic, meaning that I feel everything. I'm a very sensitive person, and I know there's a lot of people out there like me who feel everything, okay? They feel people's energy near them. They feel everybody's stuff, and it's hard. This is a hard time of year right now during this, I call it the Christmas season, Hanukkah, whatever you want to call it, also through the new year. People being depressed. There's a lot of sadness right now around this time of year, and it can be very challenging to people who are very empathic, if they know they're empathic or not. They still, on some level, a lot of people feel that. I know. I've been going through, before I knew how to combat myself in some ways or protect myself or whatever you want to call it from these energies, I used to be like almost in the house between the Christmas holiday through the New Year's. Hope the season was over. That's how I was in the beginning. So there's more and more people opening up to being sensitive, okay?
Oh, so, I can totally
go ahead.
Everything you say, I can so relate because I'm an empathic, and I have to ground and shield and protect myself so much.
Yeah.
I'm almost shut myself off, or I'll be a blubbering idiot at all times. So I get it. I think it's understandable. I totally agree. And again, I've been there many years myself, and there's a lot of clients that come to me with this issue. So let's talk about anxiety and how my sounds can help people with anxiety. So anxiety, people come to me all the time with anxiety, okay? And we can get into the children and the pets as well, okay, in a few minutes. But okay.
I help children and pets as well. We'll talk about that. So a lot of people come to me not knowing why they're feeling anxious or anxiety, and the most common anxiety that I work with when people come to me for a session is that people, and you might relate to this, Gina, or somebody you know, is that people are out of their bodies, meaning I think we are living in an era of everybody being in their brain. I call it the computer era. Everybody's texting constantly on the cell phones. I mean, I go on vacation. I live in Maui, and I'm around the hotels. All I see is people on their vacations, and I'm not judging. Believe me, I don't judge. But all they're on their cell phones, constantly on their vacation, supposed to be on the beach relaxing. They're texting. It's nonstop. So it's like you can't go on vacation without your cell phone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's what most people, it becomes a habit. After a while, you don't even realize you're doing it. I'm one of the people, I know. I have to kind of put my phone down sometimes because I can go on vacation and constantly keep looking at the phone, okay, texting. And it's a common thing that we do this time of just what we're doing at this time of our life because we have the cell phones and all the computers, and they didn't have all that stuff when I was growing up. I'm a little older. I don't even think they had computers when I was growing up, really. It was just very, very rare. So anyway, so what I find, what'd you say, Gina?
I did not have a computer growing up. Me
neither. No. They didn't even have them back then. So in some ways it was good because we used to play board games. I don't know if you played Monopoly. You know?
I love Monopoly, but we couldn't even use calculators in school. I mean, the kids got computers and laptops and calculators, and it's like we have to have all that stuff, and not us. We had to actually think, use our brain, use our hands, show the work, do all the stuff, do it, walk the walk.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I'm in the same era. I'm in the same era. Yeah. Well, I used to grow up with board games, which were probably they were more family connected. I do find people, even on their vacations, I'm watching the kids and the families are all on their cell phones. I don't even see any, and I'm not, I'm just I'm a very much of an observer. People are not really connecting like they used to when I was growing up with, and again, I didn't have a family, but just board games, and stuff.
Yeah.
So what I guess I'm trying to say is that, because I'm trying to bring this into what I'm talking about anxiety right now, is that most people who come to me, even this time of year, are not really in their bodies. Okay, when I work with people, I can kind of scan the energy of people, and I do that by just starting my session, and I start with some sound, of course, always, to get people into a place of receiving, because I know most people who have never worked with a sound healer, and most people do come to me already open to any kind of natural, holistic energy work, because I'm doing a form of energy work, everybody. This is called energy work. And
I would hope so. I hope they wouldn't be blocking you or anything stupid like that, they do. Some people like, oh, well, you can't. They go to a psychic and say, well, you can't read me. Well, then why are you here?
I've been on a couple shows in the past that were not open, and that people made it a spectacle what I was doing. I really stay away from those people, but I've learned. Thank you for that. But most of the people that have come to me are really, even if they weren't open before, okay, maybe they've tried everything and nothing has really succeeded for them, and they're more open because they're desperate more. They're like, hey, lady, I would have been open to you 5 years ago, but, since I've tried everything and nothing's worked, I'm on every single drug imaginable, and I'm just heavily medicated, and I'm not happy, and I'm depressed, and I will try you. Those are the people sometimes I get to, Gina, and those are the people that I like to work with when they're ready, okay, ready. If they're not ready, it's a waste of their time. Okay, it's a waste of my time.
Right.
Because
I
don't
understand.
Yeah. I just don't waste anybody's time.
And
I don't want to waste my time.
Even thinking about it, because seriously, I have not heard of this. So hopefully you guys will share this video and this archive to get this method out there for some of the people that you may know that might need something like this that could be open to, this would be appreciated.
They could go on YouTube too. They could Google me on YouTube, and there's all free shows that I've done with my sound. They can always They can always feel it even more because my sound frequencies are very strong on my shows, and they're always archived on YouTube. That's like a free resource, right? So anyway, yeah. So those are the people that Gina, that I work with are usually people. You mentioned in the beginning in my intro that I work on telesummits, and those are the big thing right now. People love telesummits because their telesummits are already geared towards the spiritual community, or just people who are being more open to other ways of healing that are natural. I emphasize natural that work, and I do a lot of telesummits because I get lots of people on the call that I do the shows, and people are calling in constantly saying this hurts. We and of course we gear the shows towards my topics or whatever I'm talking about, pain or whatever. But I find that I enjoy working with people who are already open because, again, I'm not. How can I put this with you? I'm not a person who owns and ahs. Like the old stereotype of healers who used to walk around with robes over their heads. I'm like the girl next door. If you can hear my voice, most people love me because they're like, Dawn, you got these miraculous gifts, and you don't look anything like what I would have pictured a healer to look like. And I'm like, thank goodness. I don't want to.
No, I'm showing you a picture on the live. There she is. All right, she's a beautiful, beautiful woman, and I can't picture the police officer. I just can't. If you pulled me over.
Well, I was again, Gina. That was before my awakening of what my gifts were, and I was a lot heavier back then, and I did not look like the way I do right now. I was in my ego, so I was not really looking happy in my face when I was a police officer. Okay, so I was a whole different person back then. Okay, you got to understand. I've been kind of spiritually awakened and all that stuff, and it's been 25 years later.
Ridiculous. That's perfect. So you are.
Yeah,
where
so
I was.
Yeah, I mean, I metamorphically changed, and we all can change. We'll talk a bit later how I help people in their minds change their thoughts. I get into deeper stuff on my work. But I want to talk about anxiety, Gina. I really would like to finish on talking on anxiety because we're in the holiday season, which is really perfect call today because we're between right now of our Christmas was just last week, and we're going into New Year's, okay? So a lot of people that are coming to me, even now, I have clients this week. I've had a short schedule, of course, with the holidays, but I notice people are up above their heads because remember we were talking about a few minutes ago about people doing their texting, their cell phones constantly. So we're not really grounded in our bodies, okay? We're up above the head. I call our energy just kind of lingers above our head. People are wondering, what does that mean? Well, if we don't really have I call it our life force energy, everybody in our bodies, which is really who we are, we're energy, and we're above our heads, we really can't be present and grounded in our bodies into planet Earth, I call it. So a lot of times people's energy especially is not really peaceful. That's usually number one. I can see most people are not feeling peaceful because they're not in their bodies. And number two, their thoughts are kind of scattered. A lot of people don't even sleep well when they're not in their bodies. So my sounds, how I do it is, especially when I'm in just working on a regular client for a session, for a 30-minute session is all I work with people, by the way. I don't spend hours. I don't need to. I'm very fast when I work with people. I'm known as a lightning speed healer. I just get the work done. I don't really put any fluff onto my work. So I just I start making sound. Yeah, I don't. I know people don't have. Let's put it this way. You're busy, right, Gina? I'm busy.
Oh, yeah.
I know everybody these days. I mean, I know people work 3 jobs. They don't have time to be spending hours healing themselves. Okay, so I do it I do it fast. So my sessions no more than 30 minutes. And people actually even listen to my MP3s that I sell on my website. We'll talk later, and they can actually get more healing without even talking to me. So anyway, I go ahead and in my sessions and I make sound to ground people in their feet. So I do that, and I'll usually do that for a few minutes, even in the beginning of my sessions, especially if people have never worked with me before and they're open, but they're not really sure. They just kind of want to try it. And then I'll get people comfortable with the energy or the sounds that come through me, which are really, I call them soul sounds, okay? I know it gets a little bit deeper now. People are like, soul sounds, what is that? Well, soul sounds are actually your own essence. We all have our own frequency as a spiritual being because underneath us is a physical being that we all know ourselves as. We've given ourselves a name, and we live a physical life. We actually have a soul sound, a soul frequency, and I know how to bring those frequencies through my voice. And what do the soul frequencies do? Well, they actually are very peaceful to you when you hear them because they're your own unique frequency. And most people, when they hear my sounds, will sometimes cry, or they'll be like, oh, my God, I just feel so peaceful. I feel so, like, lighter and expanded, and it's amazing. I'm talking a very short period of time of me making these sounds, and people are like, wow, I never felt this good before. And I don't, I know how to word my words to the people who are working with me because I know some people are not open to soul sounds, so I'll call them sound frequency through my voice, okay? Well, whatever the case is, it's still sound energy healing. That's what I call it, sound energy healing through my voice. So I'll do that, and then, of course, I'll go into deeper levels of whatever the session is geared towards. If the session is geared towards pain release, then I'll go into the rest of the session for the 30 minutes, working on different areas of that person's body that may have some blockage, and of course they'll tell me if they've had accidents before or if they've had some injuries or they've had surgeries or whatever the case is, and I'll work on that, clearing away the stagnated, I call it stagnated, blocked energy in that part of the body, okay? So there's a lot more to my sessions beyond me just showing up doing sound, Gina. I actually have, I call it a toolbox of different ways I work with every individual person who comes to me because everybody's uniquely different, okay? So I don't like just go one cookie cutter way of working with somebody. I actually know, and I know how to go in and help each person individually differently, but it still comes out with the same outcome, which is peace, happiness, feeling more grounded in your body, meaning your feet. A lot of people who, believe it or not, Gina, who work with me after we get done doing the 30-minute session are feeling taller. They feel a sense of expansion through their energy systems. I hope that makes sense. But they feel taller in their bodies, And it's really cool because actually you do feel more of you. I always say our energy is so beyond our body, but you feel taller because your energy is grounded in your feet by the end of our call. And it's a really good feeling for most people because it's like I call it, I'm basically grounding in people's personal energy or your personal power of who you really are in your physical body. And that is a really cool feeling because most people want to be in their power. Some people don't know how to be in their power. And I can do it with sound to ground people in their energy, their personal power in their bodies, and they feel like they can handle anything afterwards. They can roar, or they get more of a, I call it a sense of confidence in themselves. Because, a lot of people don't have that.
Yeah, people get beaten down, by work and society and their daily life, and you tend to do that. You tend to shrink down, and your shoulders go up into your ears. But when you have that confidence and that, pride and comfort, in your own being, you do sit taller. You do walk prouder.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's a natural, I do it natural, okay? So I always tell people I'm just the natural route to you feeling good. And they're like, hey,
yeah.
I think I would like that. And that's why I was making a note of people can always listen to me on YouTube, and you can feel my energy through my recordings because it's amazing. I get miraculous healings with people listening to my recordings. And we'll get into that later about on my website. But so I also want to talk about, if you don't mind, I'd like to stretch this a little bit longer, a little bit more with the anxiety, okay, about other ways I use my sounds to help other beings, I call it children or pets, with anxiety, if you'd like me to touch on that.
Please, definitely.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, your pets do get anxiety filled, especially around like 4th of July and the fireworks and leaving and yes, dogs and cats and pets, all your pets can definitely get very anxiety filled. So listen up.
Yep. Yeah. Well, this is really good because a lot of people. You're so right, Gina. Especially with the New Year's Eve coming up in about this week. Pets, I actually have a lot of pets. I have 5 cats and a dog. Luckily, my dog doesn't mind the fireworks, but the cats do hide. And I help homeless animals. That's my calling as well as human beings. I love my little critters. So anybody who loves their pets, a lot of times just my recordings alone can help animals. But I do find animals, this is really, something that might open or be an eye-opener to your audience or anybody who has pets to be more aware of this. I'm just going to share this, is that a lot of times our pets, everybody, take on our stuff. Believe it or not, they're a loving little soul in that little body of theirs. And if you have any pets that have issues at times, and you're having issues at times, sometimes our little critters like to help us out, and they do it to help. They do it in a way that they don't think about themselves, because that is how unconditionally loving our little animals friends are, such as our dogs and our cats, I'll say. And I have a tendency to have people who own pets come to me not just for their own issues, but they're bringing their pets as well. And the reason for it is I do find that the pets will take on the owner's energy that they're trying to clear or they're having issues with. And the pets, unfortunately, Gina, are not big enough or to hold the owner's energy. So a lot of times the pet's energy gets all stagnated, okay? They get blocked up. And if things like that, if the energy of the animal, believe it or not, gets stuck or stagnated or blocked for a long period of time, which it happens, unfortunately, there's other things that can occur to the animal, which could cause health issues, okay? I'm talking major health issues. I'm talking their organs can shut down. I mean, I've worked on animals with all kinds of life-threatening things going on, and I've helped a lot of them, and some of them, they were too late, okay? And I'm not saying this happens all the time, but a lot of people are very connected, or they don't know their animals are connected to them, okay? And I call them their little soul guides. The animals are just so unconditionally loving, and they just are here to support us in our life, okay? Our life, our physical life, whatever our journey is. And we need to think about them, okay? We need to think about our pets because we need clearing. Believe it or not, our pets need clearing, okay, or balancing. So I do have sessions, Gina, where people come to me. Even I do like mini sessions in the session of the owner. I usually work with the owner, and I'll have the pet nearby where I'll work on the owner first, clearing them of whatever they got going on, especially if they're holding some really dense energy or they're just holding a lot of fear, anxiety, whatever it is. And then I'll go in, usually even 30 minutes, I'll add a pet in there. Let's say I have a lot of pets there, we'll have a separate session for them. But I can add like an extra 5-10 minutes at the end of the owner session to clear out the pet. Because the pets are usually rubbing up on the owners when I'm working on the owners saying, help me, I need help too. And I will tell the owners that the owners are like, my cat is rubbing on me. I don't know what's going on. And I'm making sound, obviously, for the owner at that point. I'm like, well, your little cat needs help. Okay? So I will clear them at the end of the session, and the pets are so much happier because they're like, don't forget about me. I need help too. So I want people to be aware of that. Our pets are here, not just, they're lovable companions, and depending on how close you are to your animals, I'm very close to my animals. My animals are my children, okay? So I make sure that when I'm clearing myself, because I am a healer, I do have to keep my energy clear, just working on my clients, that I'm always clearing my animals as well. So just want to mention that to open people's eyes up about their animals, and that their animals actually have energy systems, just like we do, and they need help as well for energy maintenance, I call it, okay? Now, I want to go, if it's okay, Gina, into a little bit more. I work with children, so do you mind if I touch upon that for a few minutes?
Oh, please do.
Oh, okay, great. I just wanted to mention that. Okay, so on the other hand, we have children, our children. And we just touched upon a few minutes ago about we're living in the computer generation right now. Our kids are all wired for that. I don't really go around. I walk around just like we do, and then all I see is kids on their cell phones texting constantly. That's when, these little kids these days, I'm talking little infants. I was just on, because I live in Hawaii, I have a lot of people that I see on the boardwalk or by the ocean walking with their vacation with their little children. I'm talking little infants having an iPad right in front of them. That's like, we're talking infants, okay? So they're being trained really early, and I'm just amazed because I didn't.
Is they have to have.
Yeah. So, well, you see it.
They're being forced into it. They have to do it. Not even just like the thing to do. You have to. It's sad, but it's true.
Yeah. So
I saw the woman. I was on a plane, and she gave her 2 kids iPads in these like little frame like things that go around them, so if they drop it, they won't break it. But they turned on movies. They did all this stuff in like 2.2 seconds, and I'm asking, what is that? By the time I'm asking, what is? They have that movie up running, and they're good to go.
Well, you see that exactly, and I'm not judging it, but I'm just noticing it. I'm an observer, but I'm also knowing that I know the ways, and I know we're going to talk about energy frequencies from our computer stuff in a minute too, how I can help people with that, because these energy frequencies coming even from the cell phones or the iPads are affecting our energy systems. We'll talk about that in a minute, okay? But right now, I'd like to talk about children and anxiety, and I get because most of the kids are texting. A lot of times people or parents will have a session with me and their children. Children are kind of open, just like pets are, to energy sound, even though they're not really open to spirituality in some ways. But they know that there's some really purity. There's a purity that I bring into my sessions that they know it's really here to help them, because I bring in such a pure divine energy. So they're open. They're like, sure, I'll do it, and then I'll help them. And usually children are pretty quick, because I'll if they're not in their ego too much. I'm talking younger children, maybe under the age of 15, and I'll work with them, and I'll just kind of ground their energy in the session. I clear their energy of whatever they picked up from the world, because kids are really open sponges to the world and everything, and I really kind of clear them from their mind and really bring them into a state of peace, of just grounding in their personal power, I call it, or their life force energy, whatever you want to call it. It's the same thing, into their feet, and I ground them to this beautiful planet. We call it Mother Earth. And kids are like, after I get done working on them, they're like, wow, I didn't realize that I feel like I feel, well, of course they say they feel taller, and the most thing I feel is they feel more lighter, and they feel like more, just so much more peaceful, and they're breathing deeper. They're telling me, and because I always ask the kids after I'm done, how do you feel right now? Because we started before, and you were like, I call them, their energy was in a cloud somewhere above their head, and they were kind of just not really thinking straight. And they're like, wow. They're like, well, I really can focus. I feel like I can think, and stuff. And it's amazing how kids' grades go up. And I'm not saying I think I contribute to me doing the grounding work. I've really helped a lot of kids pick up their grades in school, and a lot of it had to do, believe it or not, I'm not saying it's not always that, but I just by me doing a simple grounding of and clearing the children's energy during our 30-minute session, that's all I use. All I have is a 30-minute session, and grounding the kids into their bodies really shifts and changes the children into a whole different way, where they're just like, it's like a rebirth. They just feel so much more of themselves, okay? A part of themselves that they didn't know it was themselves. They're like, wait, wow, this is really feels great, I hope. And, of course, I want to mention, too, because I'm all about helping people, I'm also about empowering people, Gina. And when I say empowering people, I'm talking about after I get done with my sessions, remember how you were talking about putting light around yourself during the holidays? I show people how to keep themselves clear a lot of times after our sessions, because I want people to keep the good energy that they're feeling, right? We don't want them to just, have a session with me and then the energy goes away and they're like, oh, it's great, but, I want people to keep it. So it's almost like I give people homework in a very simple way. I don't give anything lengthy. Everything I do is nothing long and long-winded. It's very short. But it's like a daily exercise I do after I clear them out, so they can keep themselves clear, because it's all about free will and really empowering us to know that we can, once we get help from a person like me that does the work that I do and help people get clear and ground themselves and get them out of pain, whatever it is, it's really up to us as a human being to keep ourselves in that state, okay? It's like nobody can babysit your energy after I get done working with you. I'm going on to the next client. But I do show you ways that you can keep yourself grounded and clear. So that's pretty empowering, Gina, what I do. People know, hey, I got responsibility,
Yeah. So a lot of people are empathic and they have no clue that they're empathic, and I'm sure you'll be able to see that in them and say, oh, hey, you really need to do this, because I really need to do that myself. I have to do it. I do it twice a day, in the morning and at night. So it is your health, it is your physical well-being, it is what you, need to do for you. So that's basically what she's teaching you, is how to keep yourself level and okay.
Absolutely. There's I call people in the past, when I first started on my journey as a healer, they used to like to blame the healer. Hey, that felt good, and then all this energy came back on me, and what happened? And I learned over the years of doing this work that, hey, we need to teach people energy etiquette. We need to teach people how.
Sure it is.
Well, we do.
That's the energy etiquette. I like it. I'm gonna coin that. I'm using it.
Well, it is. It's what I do. So I show people energy etiquette in some ways. So this way it empowers you. Okay, I have a responsibility to do. Okay, I worked with this healer, whatever, who it is, Dawn Crystal, whatever. But I do need to keep myself, and I need to do this every day, because a lot of people get lazy. I've noticed over the years, people used to come to me and they get cleared, and then they wouldn't do anything, and then they would come back to me the next week and say, Dawn, can you clear me again? And it got really tedious for me too, because I'm not doing what I do for the money, even though I do get paid. I'm doing it really to empower people. So that's like my true passion and my mission in life is to empower. So it used to get a little bit too much for me too, because I'm like, I would like how people kind of evolve and get to your next level of whatever you're here to do in this earth, versus you just kind of coming to me every week for clearings. And I that's when I really learned to say, hey, we really need to teach people how to keep their own energy clear. Okay, so I do give people exercises about that. So that's very important.
It really is. I mean, and then too, I like be with my shows. I try to bring these shows to help people help themselves, and you have to do that footwork. You have to. No one is going to do it for you. You can get the tools, the tips, the techniques, the trainings, and everything, but you still have to do the work yourself, and you got to love yourself enough to do it. And this technique is pretty amazing. So now we've talked about the anxiety and the children and the pets, and you mentioned briefly about like surgeries. How does this help after surgeries?
Yeah. Yeah, so it's really good. People come to me after surgeries, and I do work with a lot of professional athletes on the playing field that make millions of dollars per year as well. They found me because they're all into holistic medicine these days. Believe it or not, a lot of these people on the playing field, including football, whatever you want to call, are really into organic living, natural, really natural. So they're a lot of my clients. And I work with it. I work. Huh?
Are there any Patriots on your list? The Patriots are my home.
I got to keep everything confidential, but I would love to tell you, but I can't. I promised them I wouldn't. That's why I have a lot of celebrities that come to me as well. And I wanted to mention that a lot of these people, including the people on the playing field, have injury, okay? A lot of times these people are coming to me more because they get out of surgery and they had injury and they want to get back out on the playing field. So I definitely will work concentrated on clearing and also healing those areas of wherever they had surgery. Really, what I do with my sound is I really clear out scar tissue and inflammation of the body pretty quickly. I get the body healing I call it, my sounds help your body heal itself quicker. Does that make sense? So, meaning I help your body get back to healing itself naturally. Our bodies are all made to heal themselves, Gina, naturally. It's just unfortunately we have injury and things that happen to us in this life, and we're in a physical body, okay? We have injury, we have blockage. Things happen after surgeries, whatever you want to call it. So what I do is get the body up and running. It's almost like our body is a machine. So as I get it up and running, I get it fine-tuned. I get it up. I get it moving. I get the energy flowing through the body with my sound. I kind of work on those little areas where you've maybe had some injury and you have some, we had some surgery. And we get those areas moving with energy, life force energy, moving through those areas, which life force energy is the energy that runs through all of us. And, again, it gets blocked up when we have any type of distortion or any kind of injury, and then it becomes very choppy, our energy and our energy systems, which I call it the meridians of the body, gets very choppy. And what happens is that our energy does not flow fluidly through the body, and we need that. We need the energy flowing through the body. We call the Chinese call it qi, okay? Qi energy is the same thing. It's energy systems. Our energy systems of our body need to harmoniously flow and it ongoingly flow. If there's a distortion in the body, which is usually caused from an injury, trauma, surgery, that becomes very hard for our bodies to really heal and get back up and really working properly. So, and that can happen. It really gets really compounded too, as people, don't know about my work, energy work, which I feel is really essential these days to have energy work. But people will find out more about energy work as the years come. But we're opening up to this. But if things linger for a long period of time, again, it could cause a problem in the human body as well. We were talking about animals before, but now we're talking about humans. And it could cause all kinds of issues. Okay, I've had people with major issues, organs shutting down, all kinds of crazy stuff, okay? And it wasn't even related to what was happening. It's because there was not enough energy or oxygen flow happening to support the energy of the body and the organs, our vital organs, okay?
Okay.
So, it's so I just want to let you know the people who are on the playing fields, they're loving my work. They're like, Dawn, I will obviously follow my doctor, which I tell people I'm not a medical professional. Please follow your doctor, but why not use my energy healing or whatever I do as an alternative? Okay. So I like to call myself an alternative to what you're currently doing. Okay. So it's really effective, and it's really really works well because I can get people up and running really quickly and back into their everyday lives, trying to enjoy their lives, right? Or doing what we have to do. So, so I think that's kind of exciting, yeah.
As well as the anxiety and things like that we deal with. Now, you can also do this to help lose weight. How does that work?
Mm-hmm. That's going to get into my...
This time.
Yeah, it's going to get to the programs. I help people with anti-aging and weight loss, okay? And I have programs on my website that they're just MP3s that you can listen to. But, my work goes deeper beyond the physical. It goes into the unconscious mind, okay? And as we are adults, we do get programmed pretty much in our lives up until age 6. We're like an open sponge to our parents and the world as a child. And a lot of times, even myself as a child, I grew up with a lot of trauma, okay? So I grew up with a lot of chaos on top of my me being naive and very young and being an open sponge. So I had a lot of stuff on me compound on an early age of unconscious thought patterns and belief systems that I've taken on for survival. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, we all have to survive, and that was my survival of just creating these thought patterns in my mind to keep myself protected as a child, on top of all the world and being naive and being an open sponge. So if you don't have the trauma, you still are still open to taking on belief systems from the world, from the media, from watching TV, from your parents at a very young age. And those create belief systems in ourselves, and it's depending on your self-esteem and how you grew up and how your parents treated you, especially how your parents treated you. If they were not really loving like my parents, were not praising me at all. Actually, I was living in chaos and, pretty much watching everybody die in front of me of drugs and alcohol. I didn't really have positive reinforcement. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, it's unfortunate it happens to a lot of people, but my gifts come from me going through my hard trials as a child, so I know how to be really compassionate with people and know how to work with people with their traumas, because I know firsthand how to heal my own. That's really makes a true healer, when you can heal yourself first and then help somebody else. So my weight philosophy, my anti-aging, basically goes into my sounds clearing your unconscious mind and your belief systems that you've taken on since whenever this occurred. You don't even need to know when it occurred, when you picked up a belief system, but I could go in and start clearing that. So this way your life changes. How does your life change? Well, if you've had some belief system about a lot of people binge eat or whatever, they don't even know what they're doing, but they're doing things that are not really aligned to them being at the weight they want to be, say, for instance, their weight issues. I go in and clear the unconscious mind, and my recordings do that too. And it changes your life because you're clearing out unconscious thought patterns that were blocking you from living and being and looking the way you want to look. So it's very simple, but very powerful, because my energy work goes in clearing deep beyond the pills, okay? And I really think most of our problems is really caused in the mind. Does that make sense, Gina?
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Mine's powerful.
So I have a weight loss program I have on my website. I also have an anti-aging program. And my anti-aging program is awesome, too, because a lot of people want to grow old gracefully and naturally, and I'm on the bandwagon with that. I don't want to do surgery. I want to do it naturally and live to 150 or whatever it is and be healthy, being at that age, or 100, whatever it may be. So my frequencies that go into through my MP3s, even on my recordings, will go in and start clearing out any belief system you've taken on that thinks that you need to look a certain age, say, for instance, at this time of your life, okay? Because we all kind of have a stereotype, whatever it may be. 70 you have to look like this, 80 you need to look like this, or you're not, whatever it is, okay? So I go in and just start clearing out whatever belief system you've taken on. So this way you could be more neutral, and you'll have more energy, of course, because you're not going to be believing the story that you need to be a certain way at a certain age. Does that make sense?
God, yes. God, yes. I mean, I see some and it's just like, wow, what happened to you?
Well, I can tell you something. You see my picture there, right? I look pretty youthful, right?
Yeah,
I'm not bragging. It's natural. Yeah. And the reason why I look so youthful, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a spring chicken. But
I'm going to be 50.
I do want to mention, yeah, I'm in my 50s. So I want to mention it's because I really run this high-frequency energy through me, and I really don't have all the belief systems that most people have. So I bring that in my work, okay, and I can help people get to that place of being ageless at any age, okay, and feeling good in your body. So I think that's really cool, and I actually do programs with major corporations right now. I have the one of Minneapolis that I do it every 2 week. It's a 6-month course that I work with people, and we get together every 2 weeks doing clearings on different areas of your life. I've been doing this for 2 years with them, and it's been very successful. And so I'm pretty well noted for my unconscious clearings, which we're talking about right now, on the unconscious mind, and people's lives change. My testimonials alone on my website come in every day of people's lives changing just by doing clearings that we're talking about on the unconscious mind. So
why don't you tell them about that, because we're rounding down to like the 5-minute mark for our hour.
Okay, yeah.
What is your site and what's available there, and how can they get your book that's out?
Sure.
Currently? Yeah,
well, my book's called Pain Free, Made Crystal Clear. You can get it off my website, or you can go to Amazon. It's by Dawn Crystal, and you can visit my website, everybody, at www.dawncrystalhealing.com. And, of course, you'll have a view of all my programs that I was just talking about. You have options also to have sessions with me if you like to go deeper. But my MP3s alone are really wonderful, and it's just a way for you to listen to them and see if you like my work. And, of course, you'll be getting energy and good shifts in your life anyway, as long as you're open, which I know you would be. But, yeah, and then like I said, you could listen to a lot of my free stuff on YouTube, too. Just go under Dawn Crystal on YouTube and check me out. And I have a lot of radio shows on there of just me working with live callers for 1 or 2 mini healings. And you'll see the miraculous healings that come through and just me working on people in 2 minutes. And these aren't scripted. These are people, just live people calling in on the shows, my life, oh, my God, I feel better. So, and could you imagine if you did a 30-minute session with me or listened to my MP3s on my website? So I have a wealth of free stuff and a lot of good I'm just here to contribute to the world and in my own unique way of sharing my unique sound healing through my voice. And I really think that what I'm putting out to the world, Gina, is the wave of the future of our holistic healing. And, again, my work is very potent. So I'm really excited to be on the forefront of our future of being a pioneer and bringing this type of energy work to the world. Okay.
Well, I think it's fascinating and amazing, and it does make sense if you think about it because, sounds are calming. They are soothing. They can help you.
Yes.
And if it's a way to heal you in all these different areas in your life, why not? Why not give it a try? It'd be wonderful.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't mind. I'd like to try myself. Because I sell
MP3s too. So.
Yeah.
I
would love to. I would love to try it. I'm gonna check it all out too because I haven't done that. But that's fabulous. Yeah. So briefly, what about your new book coming out now? What is that going to be?
Well, my new book is in the press. It's my second book. I'm writing a series. So my first book is called Pain Free Made Crystal Clear. My Sounds Unblock Your Energy. That's on Amazon. My new book will be coming out called Fear Free Made Crystal Clear. My Sounds Relieve Your Fears. So it's going to be an excellent book. It's going to be talking about my life story, but it's also going to be talking about stories I've helped other people, so you receive wisdom about things, and also just exercises to help yourself in your own life if you've had any type of traumas or just fears you've taken on. So, and especially for empaths, this is good as well. So that's coming out soon. That'll be out in the later part of January. So that's really exciting. Thanks for letting me say that. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Now, do you ever go do like the rounds? Do you come over to the States now and do seminars and things in person?
I do only when it's groups. I work with groups of people, so it's not just one-on-ones, but I do retreats. And I get invites, so I do pick and choose the ones that feel expansive to me. But I'm also been on radio shows and major television shows as well, talking about my work. So I'm really out there right now. I'm really my drive is to let more and more people know that there's natural ways to heal beyond taking drugs. And I'm not saying it's, like I said, I'm not telling people to stop taking drugs. I'm just letting you know that there's natural alternatives out there that are very potent and effective and really do work. Okay?
Oh, absolutely. And excuse me. So they can do phone and Skype sessions with you as well. True?
Absolutely. That's how I work. Most of my sessions are only done by phone or Skype. So absolutely. Yeah, we don't need to be in front of each other. It's called sound frequency. It can go through the phone easily. So no, not a problem. It makes it easy for me because I could stay in Hawaii when it's freezing cold on the mainland. I know. I'm making a joke of it, but you know what I mean. I like to stay in the warmth this time of year for sure.
I have to come to you. I need a one-on-one.
Yeah. Yeah, you're so adorable. Thank you, Gina. Yes.
So do the session on the beach.
Yeah, just let me know. Let me know when, for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list to come out there. So I mean, if I do, I will definitely look you up. Say, hey, I'm coming.
Give me a heads up.
The island.
Oh yeah, Gina, give me a heads up for sure. Absolutely.
All right. Well, we're at our hour, so I know I got to let you go. I don't want to because I'm really still have a lot more questions. But I hope you have a wonderful day and good luck with what you need to do today.
Yeah.
And I thank you for doing this special time with us and rescheduling. And I apologize for the snafu that we had earlier with the time zones and all.
Oh, don't worry. It worked out great. And I just want to say I just want to wish you and your audience a Happy New Year coming up and really wishing the best for everybody for the new year.
Ditto. And to start the new year, happy, healthy, try this, right? So, okay. Well, thank you again, and I will talk to you soon. And I'm going to be looking you up on YouTube and your website, and checking out some of those things that you have for free as well. I'll be doing that.
Thank you.
I'll put the link on this live video.
Okay, great.
So people feel free, please share the live video. Get Dawn Crystal's word out there as to what she does. Sound, voice, sound, energy, healing. She's amazing. She's amazing. She overcome a lot to get to where she is at, and she's done a pretty damn good job at it. So, all right, ciao for now. Next week we will be back at our normal time, 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay. Well, ciao for now. Have a wonderful day. Happy New Year, everybody, and a late Merry Christmas to those I didn't get to say Merry Christmas to before. All right. So, all right, I will talk to you soon. Thank you.